Monica Rodriguez. 3 things about myself. I am a mom of 2 amazing little boys. I am originally from California, and I am an appreciator of all the girly things. So yeah, today is my 2.5 years of being legally single again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a long process. I feel like I'm finally at the season now where I'm ready to share more because I feel like I'm over that hump.
Okay.
I've worked through that grief process because
Yeah.
grief can take a long time. And in my situation, there was a lot of re-grieving. I grieved when my ex-husband left. I grieved when our divorce was final. Our divorce was very quick. It was a very fast divorce. He got married quickly afterwards, and they started their family pretty soon after that. So it was like every hit that happened, I felt like I had to grieve again. I fought really hard with the Lord of not wanting to accept the fact that I was a single mom. Like I was just like, nope. I'm a mom and I'm a single, but I'm not a single mom. And everybody just shut your mouth. Yeah, I felt like there was some weird stigma about it, or I felt like I needed to justify myself to people. And I don't even think people would outwardly say anything, but it was just this feeling of like I needed to justify it. Like, oh no, my husband left me, guys. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Don't feel sorry for me though. Don't pity me. It's fine. I got this.
Yeah.
Like I don't need help. I got this. And so in my head, I thought like, in a year I'll be married. Like,
yeah.
Surely I'll be married.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm not even going to accept this.
Yeah.
So I think because I fought on it so hard, it kind of not stopped the grief process, but grieving, I think I grieved the death of my marriage. I grieved that part, but kind of grieving that idea of not being a wife was really hard for me, and I didn't want to accept it. I didn't want to think that like, oh man, this was stolen from me, and there is a possibility that this is my life going forward. And now I feel like I've come to that point where it's like, I actually really love my life. Like, I'm a single mom, but I love it. Like, I love my kids. I feel like I'm more confident now and closer to the Lord, and I feel like I have a story to tell, and there's goodness in it. And like, it's the kind of thing where you think like, God could give me a husband and God could give me more kids, but even if he doesn't, like he's still good and I'll still praise him. And so I feel like that took way longer for me to like fully accept and walk in. I think it helped that I had the boys a little bit because it was like they were my motivator. I have no choice in this. Like, they need to eat, they need to be taken care of, they need to go to daycare, and I have to go to work and all these things. So it was very much like I just have to get through today. Mm-hmm. Like every day. Yeah, it was just literally one day. I just got to get through. Bedtime, okay. Let's wake up the next day, and there's new grace for today, and let's just get through the day. Yeah. My ex-in-laws, oddly enough, are amazing. Me and the boys lived with them 2 different times. And so it helped because they could recognize when maybe I couldn't do the day. Like I was so deep in it that they could be like, come on, we're gonna make dinner. They made dinner every night that I lived there. I think I lived there total for about 9 months after my divorce, or during my divorce process. Because you're wasting so much energy on this emotional trauma and this emotional balance of like trying to gain my footing again. Like, what does life look like? Because I had defined so much of myself onto my ex-husband and onto being a wife and onto my marriage. Everything is stripped away, and I felt like nothing. Because I think that a lot of times as women, when their husbands leave, no matter the circumstances, there is this like, I'm not worthy, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not good enough, I'm too much, I'm too loud, I'm too whatever, quiet, whatever it is. So it was really like finding my confidence in God, and that thing of like, am I still beautiful if no man is saying I'm beautiful? And so it was really like a paradigm shift for me in that season of really, I was going to the Lord with everything. Like, I cannot parent, I cannot mother without the grace of God. Because of the circumstances with our divorce and him quickly getting remarried and having another child, I kind of always thought like, this is their stepmom, this is their brother, this is their dad. And so I don't want to ruin a view of their relationship with them, because my relationship with their father is not their relationship with their father. Yeah. So I try to be very aware of the way that I'm talking about him to them, and the way I'm talking about him to others in their presence. I don't want to speak badly about their dad where they can hear, or about their stepmom or any of that, because there needs to be respect, and they're going to learn that from me. Because I think a lot of people will look at my story as a whole and be like, oh man, you're justified. Like, you should be mad. You should be bitter. Like, that was really terrible thing for him to do. But I don't want to sit in that, because that trickles down to them. Sure. We had 2 kids in 2 years. We lived in 4 different states in the 5 years we were married. We started to argue a lot. I think in general marriage, I tell a lot of younger married couples with young children that this is just hard on your marriage. You're sleep deprived. You have this whole other person that's literally you're their life source. So it's just hard on a marriage. And I think we were kind of walking in that. Let's kind of let the dust settle and let's like work on our marriage. And so we started a marriage class called Love After Marriage that a church offers here. And we started it. He was becoming very close with someone at work. So in March of 2016, it was kind of like, we just wanted different things, I think. We couldn't see the light, I think. So he did make the choice to leave. I was very much wanting to work on our marriage. So I went to California in April. So the very next month we separated, like I moved out with the boys. And then in April I I went to California to visit my sister for 2 months. I came home in June. And that's when he served me with our divorce papers. And then later found out that he, after we separated, he started dating somebody. And then the divorce process was only like 4 months. It was very short. And then he did remarry a couple months later. And then they had a son also. So it was a lot of things that were all happening. It hyperdrove my healing though, because I didn't have the option to, like, when I came back, it wasn't like, oh, I can save this. It was like, oh no, this is really broken. Okay, so what do I do now? So it hyperdrove that healing of like, there's absolutely no option for me to go back, and this is not what redemption and reconciliation looks like now. So like, I tell women now, like, sometimes reconciliation doesn't look like husband and wife getting back together. Like, sometimes reconciliation really looks like reconciling back with God and like walking in that. And that's what redemption looks like. Because I think a lot of times when, especially Christians, when they separate, like, that's our main goal. Like, oh, let's get them back together. Like, their marriage needs to be restored. And I feel like I am restored, even though our marriage was not restored. I mean, devastation, like, doesn't even remotely define it. It was like earth-shattering, because I was very confident when I came back that, like, we were going to restore this thing. I was going to see God move mountains. So there was a little bit of a season where it was like, God, where were you? Like, you literally left me here, like, looking like an idiot. Like, I looked so dumb, because I'm telling my friends, like, I'm going to go back. We're going to be restored, blah, blah, blah. And then circumstances happened. And then social media is a great thing. Not always a great thing when you're going through something like this. Like, my ex-husband was like, he had a girlfriend. So that he got together after we were separated. So, there's pictures and stuff on social media. So it was like always getting hit with like, you're dumb. It's so easy to like walk in this of like, yeah, you're humiliated and you're broken. And it felt like my heart was like shattered and then like drug through the mud and then like put on display. Like, that's what it felt like to me. It's like, oh my gosh, not only am I getting divorced, but it's super publicized that I wasn't enough. And that's what it felt like. It was super publicized for everyone to look and like and comment that Monica wasn't good enough. So it was a very, very dark season for me of just not feeling good enough, feeling very abandoned, feeling very rejected. And I had dealt with that without even realizing, like, from childhood. My mom is an alcoholic and an addict. My dad was also an addict. So I got taken away when I was 4 or 5 from their care. And so it felt like they abandoned me. Even though it wasn't like their choice because I was taken from their care, it still felt like an abandonment.
The choices that they made.
Abandoned me. They chose something else and stuff. And so I did go to counseling. I did seek out a counselor, a Christian counselor, and he was an amazing man and just kind of walked me through, like, let's figure out where this rejection is coming from. Let's figure out where this abandonment is coming from. Yeah, so that we can just get it out so we're not walking in this anymore. So it helped to uproot all of these little lies that I told myself of, like, I'm not good enough. I'm not. As women, I think it's very common to compare yourselves of, like, oh, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not, I'm not a good enough mom or whatever it is. So going to those lies and combating them with the truth of, like, no, you are good enough and you are worthy of love. And their decisions, anybody else's decisions, is not a reflection of you and your worth and your beauty and your spirit. It's always going to be a reflection of them. And that really set me free of a lot of things. Yeah. And if you only knew the truth, Jesus died for you too. Yeah. That's the redemption. It's not like, I feel like a lot of times people, we want to like revenge,
Absolutely.
Like, oh yeah, I want some revenge on you. I want to hurt you the way that you hurt me. I think it's just really like laying down my life for the Lord and feeling like His grace and His strength and really finding my worth in who He says I am and not what anybody else says I am. And my marital status does not define who I am. It doesn't define my ability to love or be loved or a mother or any of that. Yeah. It's just been this breaking of myself to be rebuilt into the woman that God always meant for me to be.